Imagine a world of endless white, a frozen realm where ice and snow stretch as far as the eye can see. This is the kingdom of the polar bear. These magnificent creatures are the true monarchs of the Arctic. They are the largest land carnivores on Earth. Their presence commands respect and awe. Polar bears have roamed the Arctic for thousands of years. They have adapted perfectly to one of the harshest environments on our planet. Their white fur blends seamlessly with the snow and ice, making them nearly invisible as they patrol their icy domain. But the reign of these ice kings is under threat. The Arctic is warming at an alarming rate. Polar bears are marvels of evolution. Every aspect of their physiology is designed for Arctic life. Their most striking feature is their pristine white fur. This isn't just for show, it provides excellent camouflage in their snowy habitat. Each hair is actually hollow, like a tiny tube. This structure traps heat and helps keep the bear warm. Beneath this white coat lies another secret to their cold weather survival. Polar bears have a layer of blubber up to 4.5 inches thick. This fat serves as both insulation and an energy reserve. The bear's physical prowess is equally impressive. Adult males can weigh up to 1,500 pounds and stand 10 feet tall on their hind legs. Both sexes have massive paws, up to 12 inches wide. These act like snowshoes, spreading the bear's weight as it walks on thin ice. Sharp curved claws provide traction on slippery surfaces and are deadly weapons for hunting. Polar bears are also exceptional swimmers, capable of covering vast distances in frigid waters. The Arctic is a world of extremes. It's a place of perpetual ice and snow, where winter darkness can last for months. This harsh environment is the only home the polar bear has ever known. The bears depend on sea ice for nearly every aspect of their lives. They use it as a platform for hunting, resting, and breeding. The sea ice is not just their home, it's their very lifeline. Climate scientist. But this icy world is changing rapidly. Global warming is causing Arctic sea ice to melt at an unprecedented rate. The extent of summer sea ice has declined by about 13% per decade since 1979. This loss of ice is having a profound impact on polar bears. It forces them to swim longer distances between ice floes. This exhausts their energy reserves and can lead to drowning. As the ice retreats, it affects the abundance and distribution of seals, the polar bear's primary prey. Some areas are seeing an influx of grizzly bears, leading to competition and hybridization. Despite these changes, polar bears are trying to adapt, but their long-term survival depends on the preservation of their sea ice habitat. Polar bears are found across the Arctic region, in areas where sea ice forms for a significant part of the year. Their range includes parts of 5 nations: the United States, Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. The global polar bear population is estimated to be between 22,000 and 31,000 individuals. These are divided into 19 distinct subpopulations. The largest concentrations of polar bears are found in the Canadian Arctic and Greenland. Canada is home to about 2/3 of the world's polar bears. The Hudson Bay area is particularly important. Here, bears gather in large numbers as they wait for the bay to freeze over each autumn. This allows them to access their seal hunting grounds. Understanding these distribution patterns is crucial for conservation efforts. It helps scientists identify critical habitats and migration routes that need protection. Polar bears are the apex predators of the Arctic. Their primary prey is the ringed seal, though they also hunt bearded and harp seals. These bears are patient and skilled hunters. They use various techniques to catch their prey. The most common is the still hunting method. The bear waits motionless by a seal's breathing hole in the ice. When the seal surfaces to breathe, the bear strikes with lightning speed. Another hunting technique is the stalking method. The bear spots a seal resting on the ice and slowly creeps up on it. The bear's white fur provides perfect camouflage. It allows them to get close before the seal notices. Once within striking distance, the bear charges and tries to catch the seal before it can escape into the water. Polar bears have an incredible sense of smell. They can detect a seal's breathing hole from up to 1 kilometer away. While seals make up the bulk of their diet, polar bears are opportunistic eaters. A polar bear can consume up to 100 pounds of blubber in a single sitting. The greatest threat to polar bears is climate change. As the Arctic warms, sea ice is forming later in the fall and breaking up earlier in the spring. This shortens the bears' hunting season. It forces them to spend more time on land where food is scarce. Some populations are already showing signs of stress. Bears are becoming thinner and producing fewer cubs. As the Arctic ice retreats, it's opening up new areas for oil and gas exploration. This increases the risk of oil spills in polar bear habitat. Such spills can be devastating. They can contaminate the bear's fur, reducing its insulating properties. When bears groom themselves, they can ingest the oil, causing internal damage. Pollution is another significant concern. The Arctic acts as a sink for pollutants from around the world. These toxins accumulate in the Arctic food chain, affecting polar bears' immune and reproductive systems. Despite the challenges, there is hope for polar bears. Numerous conservation efforts are underway to protect these magnificent creatures. International agreements like the 1973 Agreement on the Conservation of Polar Bears provide a framework for cooperation. All 5 polar bear nations have agreed to protect polar bear denning areas and migration routes. Many organizations are working tirelessly to protect polar bears and their habitat. The World Wildlife Fund, or WWF, runs several polar bear conservation programs. These include tracking bear movements and working with local communities to reduce human-bear conflicts. Polar Bears International focuses on research and education. They work to inspire people to care about the Arctic and take action on climate change. Protected areas play a crucial role in polar bear conservation, but the most important conservation action is addressing climate change. Polar bears are fascinating creatures, and many interesting facts about them are not widely known. For instance, polar bear fur isn't actually white. Each hair is transparent and hollow, like a tiny straw. It's the reflection of light off these hollow hairs that makes the bear appear white. Another surprising fact is that polar bears have black skin beneath their fur. This helps them absorb and retain heat from the sun. Contrary to popular belief, polar bears don't hibernate in the traditional sense. While pregnant females den up for several months to give birth and nurse their cubs, other polar bears remain active year-round. They may enter a state of walking hibernation during food-scarce periods, but they don't sleep through the winter like other bear species. There's a common myth that left-handedness is more common in polar bears than in humans. This isn't true. Polar bears, like other bears, don't show a preference for one paw over the other. One of the most important facts to remember is that polar bears are not doomed to extinction. If we take decisive action on climate change, we can preserve their sea ice habitat.